All right, we got a bit of semi-breaking news. Dillon Brooks has signed a 3-year, $73 million extension with the Phoenix Suns. It's being first reported by ESPN, and I believe since it's Shams Charania, he's shouting out the agent because that's who he has relationships with. Um, I don't yet know how the money is broken down. And that's actually very important for the Suns going forward. So obviously, he's under contract for the upcoming season at 19 million, and so this is 73 million more. That's going to cover his age 31, 2, and 3 seasons. So, you know, I would say the end of his prime. Players like Brooks, generally by the time they're in their mid 30s, just like aren't all that effective. Some of them age well, but once again, like just because some guys age well doesn't mean all guys age well, and some guys age poorly, right? So by the end, this is probably his last good extension, if I had to guess. I'm just going to assume, for the sake of not having the information, generally speaking, the first year salary is lower, and then there are 8% raises off of that. So throwing into my handy dandy calculator, knowing it's 3 years and 73 million, that spits out 23.1 million in 2027 28, 24.9 in 2028 29, and 26.7 in 2029 30. So since that's not going to affect the Suns this season, I'm just going to get it out there. They're currently at 215 million in salary commitments. Now, over 20, about 23.1 million is in dead money. And that's thanks to Bradley Beal. In fact, Bradley Beal over the light is going to his contract comes off the books when this extension from Brooks ends. So basically, they only have guys under contract through 2029 30. And that is the extent of Bradley Beal's contract. So basically, the Suns are playing with a $19.3 million hole in their cap sheet for the next 4 seasons, which is tough. So they're at 215 million this season, which puts them above the luxury tax at 200 million, above the first apron at 209, but below the second at 221. Next season, and these are projections, but next season the salary cap is projected at 174, luxury tax of 211, first apron of 220, second apron of 234. With just 12 guys under contract, assuming they pick up everyone's player options and or all player options are picked up and team options are exercised, they have 199.2 million committed to 12 players. This doesn't include Miles Bridges, who they just traded for. Realistically, I cannot see Miles Bridges getting less money than Dillon Brooks, as he's younger and he's a better offensive player, and that tends to pay better. He's also starting from a higher salary than Brooks was. Brooks is starting from 19.9. Bridges in the final year of his current deal is at 22.8. So I would just assume, based upon that Bridges is looking at something in the realm of 25 million for 2027 28, which would get the Suns over the first apron, but still keep them under the second apron. If it is exactly 25, they'll be 4 million or so over the first apron, which gives them 10 million under the second apron to work around to round out the roster, which for 3 minimum contracts, that basically keeps you there. So I personally, if I was the Suns, would not have done this. I would have actually looked to trade Brooks this summer. And it's not because he's not a good player. I think it's actually mainly because he's a good player, but because of the situation they're in with Bradley Beal eating 19.3 million into their cap these next 4 seasons, they're so capped at what they can do. And then you factor in Devin Booker is making 57, 61, 64, and then as a player option for 69 million in 2029 30. Booker's a good player, but he's not worth that contract. He's not worth that extension. Very few guys are. Like, people hear stuff like that, like, don't disrespect him. It's like the number of guys that are worth that type of money, you can count on one hand, maybe two. I don't think Devin Booker's a top 10 player in the league, right? And so you already have that. And on top of that, you have the Bradley Beal contract that is just, the vampire contract. It was why a lot of people are like, well, why are you like, you should just eat this in the short term to get it over with because it's just going to suck long term. And so, yeah, like in a vacuum, I think this is a totally reasonable deal for Brooks. He's a good player. He helps teams more than his stats and the advanced metrics, I think, probably give him credit for. Like, it's just nice to have a guy who goes out there and makes the other team's best player work, and you can just live with him doing that and put other guys in better defensive positions. And on top of that, like, he can go hit some shots. He's not a perfect player. He's not a great player or even necessarily a good player, but he does something that every team kind of needs, and he does it well. And I think he's worth it. Now, when he's 33 and making almost 27 million, by then that won't be a crazy amount of money, but it might not look so great then. But as it pertains to the Suns, the big thing hanging over their head outside the Beal contract, or wave and stretch, basically, that is, if I was them, I'd be terrified of, is Jalen Green has a $36 million player option for 2027-28. Right now, Jalen Green, if he wants to get the most money he can get in 2027-28, he will pick that up. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he will. There's still a season to be played. He could play well, and he could decide that he can get more money either through a longer term commitment from someone else. But the Suns are going to be in this unenviable situation because, as someone who has followed Jalen Green his entire career, because I was covering the Rockets when he first got drafted, he's not that good. But he scores enough points and does enough cool shit that, like, you kind of always believe. But I say this all the time, guys get old quick. He's entering his age 24 season, and it hasn't really happened for him yet. And usually, if it hasn't really happened for guys yet, it's not going to happen for them in a big way. Probably not a $36 million way, right? I'm not saying he can't end up carving out a good career, having some good moments, being a good, important player on good teams. But the idea of him being worth 36 million or more, very, very remote based off of what he's done thus far. That's just the reality. And so the Suns are looking at this situation where they're going to be very expensive in 2027-28. And then in 2028-29, they're going to have 158 million in salary commitments with only 8 guys on their contract, because Booker's making 64 million, Brooks is at 24, Williams 13, Mark Williams 13, Colin Gillespie 12.4, and then Kamen Malawak will be at 8 million. So they're in a tough spot financially going forward. And the easiest way, and this is kind of something that they've done consistently as an organization, is they've been willing to push the pain down the line, I would say, or spread the pain out. Basically, unsurprising, a Matt Ishbia fucking team is willing to mortgage its future, refinance its future consistently, and they kind of just act like if they can keep doing that in perpetuity, and they'll be fine. I don't think that's going to be the case, but so I think next offseason you're going to be looking at a situation where Jalen Green is probably going to opt in and get that 36 million, because why not? Why not get paid 36 million to have one more bite at maybe you finally break out? And the Suns probably are thinking to themselves, fuck, like, we would rather have more money to play with right now. And how can we do that? And so there's a decent chance that, and this isn't be like making Brooks's extension bad. I just think that, like, it creates this financial situation where they seem very short-sighted on their financial decisions. And so they're probably going to say, hey, what if we offer you less money up front, so less than 36 million, but we spread it down the line? Like, what if we just give what they just, they might say, like, what if we give you, instead of 36 million, we'll give 25 million, with 8% raises over the next 3 seasons. So like, you guarantee yourself, like, another 75 to 80 million dollars. Like, and so it's just going to, I feel like it's setting a situation where they're just going to keep kicking the can down the road, because they don't actually want to just have that one season where you just kind of have to reset the financial watch, reset the, just, do what needs to be done. Because it's like they're just waiting for the Beal money to come off, but in doing so, they keep kind of adding more money down the line. So it's almost like it's never going to go away. That's just me guessing, but that would be my take on maybe the trickle down effect of Dillon Brooks getting this contract, which I think is realistically pretty good. Now, I don't. It means they probably can't trade him for a minute, because he's signing an extension. I would just look to trade him. I also have looked not to trade for Miles Bridges. I also would have looked to like trade Devin Booker and not have given him that extension, because I just, sometimes blowing it up is the best thing to do, but that's not their modus operandi. That's fine. A little bit more of news. This one I was pretty fucking surprised with. Once again, not because I don't like the player, just because of where this team is. So the Mavericks have extended Najee Marshall on a 3-year, $52.2 million deal. I haven't done all the like what's the first year stuff, because I see this deal and I go, Najee Marshall is a good player. Perhaps he is worth this contract. But he's 28, and you're the fucking Dallas Mavericks, and you're rebuilding, and he kind of plays the position that the future of your franchise plays, and he's like not a particularly good floor spacer. I know he plays hard, but like, look, maybe this is just setting it up for them to be able to trade PJ Washington, whatever. No harm, no foul. But like, I just don't know why they felt the need to give him fully guaranteed money. I mean, look, like, is Najee Marshall, is this contract so bad that it's going to like screw up their ability to build around Cooper Flag? Almost certainly not. But Najee Marshall, like, he had a good season, 15.2 points per game, okay efficiency. Like, he can do a little bit of stuff, but he's a career 30% 3-point shooter. And he can do stuff with the ball, and you're getting Kyrie Irving back. You have Cooper Flag. Like, you have guys that, you have two centers who are pretty good, but they both can't shoot. It's just a weird amount of money to give to a player who's good, but not a great fit for your team. I don't completely understand why you would do that. I mean, like, I understand that there's so many of these moves where at the end of the day, it turns out that they're just doing it to create a salary slot. All right, maybe that's all this is. But I don't know. Like, I think it's more valuable to have good contracts than just fucking salary slots. And that's what it feels like, some of these deals. Like, I just published my thing on the Detroit Pistons offseason, and like, that's how Kevin Herter's contract feels like. It's just like, there's like, well, like, we like having this guy around. Let's give him a tradable salary slot. I think I understand why teams did that in the past, and I understand why teams still do it to some degree. But with how teams have been behaving with the aprons and all that stuff, it seems like a little crazy to be doing that, where like, you're capped, or teams are saying to the GMs that you're capped, and you're just kind of giving these guys these. It might not matter, but there's like a chance the Mavericks are legitimately. I mean, maybe that's what they're saying. Maybe the Mavericks think they're going to be legitimately good. I think that's actually more likely than people give it credit for. Like, Kyrie Irving's, we'll see how he looks when he comes back, but before he tore his ACL, he was playing quite well. Probably not going to be at that same level, but he'll still be like kind of an all-star level player. I mean, he's playing at an all NBA level when he tore his ACL. He's quite good. And a lot of these dudes that end up becoming like multi-time first-team all NBA players, like these really great prospects, stars, are sick by year two. And Cooper Flag was awesome as a rookie. I mean, for his age, the fact that he was basically like a league average plus level player at his age, like the only guys that have done that are like LeBron. I mean, that's mainly because like the only guys that have really played in the NBA at all at that age are like dudes way back in the day when they let high school guys in the 90s and early 2000s. But like all those guys sucked early on. So there's like a real chance, like better than people probably are even thinking, that Cooper Flag is next season one of the 15 or 10 best players in the league. Like I wouldn't put money on that, but there's a real like pretty solid chance considering what you're saying, right? Like saying a guy goes from league average to top 15 is like an incredible leap. But I think Flag has a pretty good chance to make that leap, just based upon like the track record of players that young being as good as they were in their rookie season. Maybe that's what the Mavericks think. Maybe that's what the Mavericks think, that they're going to be actually like pretty fucking good the next three seasons. So they want to lock in Najee Marshall, and actually having that salary slot is a bit more valuable because they might think we're not actually rebuilding anymore. That's the problem with drafting a Victor Wembanyama and a Cooper Flag, and a Luka Doncic and a LeBron James, is you get those dudes and then you have them for their rookie season and then they figure out how to play in the NBA and you're not rebuilding anymore and you still don't have enough talent. It happens. Life comes at you quick. Good thing the Mavs have all of those picks from the Luka Doncic trade to, do that. Okay. More Mavericks news. Apparently, they're exploring trading Klay Thompson. That makes sense. Klay Thompson, kind of a sad end to his career. People love him. He kind of seems like a huge prick. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't get good vibes from him. Like, he's the type of dude that, like, when he retires, I think people are going to be like, why is whenever this guy, like, on a conversation, he comes across as a huge asshole. Like I know he's like, chill, whatever. Like I don't get those vibes from him. I think he's kind of a piece of shit. That's just my guess. Mainly because like the way it ended in Golden State was basically people being like him, just being like, yeah, I don't give a fuck if I'm hurting the team. I just I want to start like, he basically was unwilling and incapable of accepting that he was a diminished player. And he seems somewhat jaded by that and continues to seem somewhat jaded. I don't think the Mavericks are going to be able to get anything for him because he basically is just a good shooter now and his defense is a liability. And he can kind of only guard fours, but he's undersized at guard forwards. So we'll see what they do. But my guess is that, he's going to get to the end of that deal and then they'll just buy him out. Like, or they'll trade him somewhere where they have space and they'll buy him out, right? Like that's where this is heading. He's not an interesting. He might be an interesting person to some people because of what he once was, but in terms of like his current basketball life, he's a very uninteresting player. He's a not very good player who is overpaid and has a inflated sense of self. So like that's my take on Klay Thompson. I'm probably the minority thinking he's a kind of an asshole, but like I don't know, like you just get vibes from people. And I don't get good vibes from him. And I never really did. I never really understood why people, like because he's kind of like seems just because he seems a little aloof doesn't mean you can't be a dick. Like sorry. All right. To wrap this up. I think some things are too funny to like not talk about. And that's why people talk about the Sacramento Kings. But yeah, so the Kings allegedly would like to bring in a veteran point guard to serve as a mentor to the first round pick, high draft pick, Darius Acuff Jr. That's according to Jake Fisher and Mark Stein. Of the Stein line, there's a Substack link in here. Way to go, Substack, on the way up. So the Kings are considering bringing back Russell Westbrook for this. And like, look, man, Westbrook is an interesting dude because he plays really hard. Obviously, he's like all time, very great player, all time player, easy Hall of Famer. Has it averaged like I don't know how many triple double seasons, but a lot. the first one since Oscar Robertson, and like it's one of those things where like because he did it multiple times, even while like his actual impact was like declining pretty precipitously, like because of that, like people don't aren't even as impressed with Jokic doing it so soon. But yeah, so like I'm not saying Russell Westbrook ruined averaging a triple double for other players, but he kind of did. But that's because he was able to do it so many times, and that's fucking amazing. So like great player, great career. Teammates seem to really like him in certain situations. I think coaches can kind of get frustrated with him. Apparently, he's a huge asshole to the media, which weird. You know, he's in that like some. It's crazy. So these successful athletes, like they're just like to get to that level to have that self belief. They just like kind of are like either wired weird or like have to like rewire their brain to be kind of an insane person. No reason to be addicted to people in the media. Like they're just doing their job. You don't like the questions they ask. Well, then like I don't know, man. Fucking, you're a public person, and they really don't ask you that many tough questions. Like, get over it. I just think it's funny. Like, what are you doing if you're the Kings? Like, also, like, why the fuck do you want a veteran guard to mentor this dude? Like, what the fuck is that shit? Like, I never understand when teams are like, this is what they want. Is it because they're concerned about the guy? Like, you have coaches, have the coaches mentor him. Like you know what I'm saying? Like have the coaches mentor him. Like this is your guy that you're like trying to at least hope you can somewhat build around. Like obviously it wasn't a high enough pick where it's like, of course we're building around him. But it's like, don't bring in Russell Westbrook. That's crazy. And then apparently they are looking at Victor Oladipo, who like, look, Oladipo's career got completely changed by injury. At one point, he was a very good player. I don't think I've never heard anything where like someone say he's a bad person. He's corny, but like there are way worse things to be than corny, right? And he's not even like Dwight Howard level corny where it's like, dude, stop. You probably would say stop to Oladipo, but it's not at the same like it's not like it's not the big red stop sign. But like you're the Kings, like can you guys just be normal? This is hilarious. Like if I kind of hope they bring in both of them, Russell Westbrook and Victor Oladipo on the same team in 2026, 27 would be amazing. And somehow they're going to play over Darius Akeb Jr. to start the season because like who the fuck knows. That's not real news, but it is funny news that Russell Westbrook is they're still thinking about bringing him back. Man, like what are you doing that for? Like he just he's a good player. I don't think he's a bad dude, but like you can't have Russell Westbrook be out there without it being Russell Westbrook's team. And like that's been the constant strain of his career post 31 basically. Is that just like every team has you just have to accommodate him because he's incapable of playing any other way but the Russell Westbrook way, which requires him like being kind of central to the show. I mean, the Nuggets were sort of able to like make it work just because Jokic is the show, but he doesn't need the ball in the same way as so many other guys. Just don't do it. Let the rookie do what rookies do and have an absolute awful season and just let him take his lumps. And if you want a veteran, a veteran mentor, there are better guys. I swear to God, man, there are better guys than Russell Westbrook. I know he's got a great work ethic. I know he works really hard. I'm sure like he works on his jumper, even though he can't shoot. I'm sure he works on his jumper. But man, just like don't do that. Just don't do it. Find like, come on, Kings, like be a pretend serious franchise for once.